So my buddy and I, this is my little sailing buddy Caleb, and normally we'd love to be out sailing on a day like this. There's a nice, wonderful breeze, but we live in North Texas, and we've had unprecedented rains this year. The lake we normally sail at, Lake Texoma, is flooded. There's debris. There's boathouses everywhere floating in the middle of the lake. So, you know what? He and I decided to make the best of it, and we're doing backyard projects, trying to make sure that the boat's ready to go someday when we get to get back out on the water. So, anyway, anything you want to say, buddy? I had a big gouge into the centerboard. So what I did is I ended up coming in here, cleaned it all out, put in a base coat of epoxy, and after I got that all dried out yesterday, I ended up taking some fiberglass mat and created a patch. I went with a bigger section on the bottom and then worked my way up to the top, and now I've got it inside this foil. The edges were flaking out on me, so I went ahead and wrapped it in foil, put some tension on here with good old blue tape, and hopefully it's going to hold the edges to where instead of flaring out, they're going to follow the contour of the centerboard. Now on this bottom of the centerboard, there was another gouge that was taken out right here, a couple of impacts with the prior owner. I'm going to go through and build up a mat here and try to match it back up with the profile. You can see how deep it is. I've already sanded it out and got it ready. I'm going to put a thick mat here and then come back with the bilateral small stuff to wrap around. Like start off using some denatured alcohol to clean up all the sanding dust and prep the surface real good. And then after that, we're going to let that dry for just a sec. And then we are going to put on our repair. Now what we have for that, this little tiny section is going to go right in here. It's going to go right there, and then we're coming back over it with a capping mat like this to not only hold it in place but to reinforce. This is the bottom forward section of the centerboard on our McGregor 26. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to just soak this heavy fiber mat and put it up there and get it. Simply lay it out there. I love this West Systems two-part epoxy with the pump system. It's wonderful. Alright, so then we're going to wet out this surface, get it ready. I use these real easy, cheap chip brushes. You can get those at any of the home repair places, or West Marine sells them, kinds of stuff like that. Alright, so then place that on there. This is to reinforce this bottom of the centerboard. Apparently there have been quite a few impacts, and I mean everybody goes aground at some point, but this took a chunk out of it. Simply wrapping that there. I'm going to wet it some more. I use the slow hardener. That fast hardener, you know, I'm a backyard guy. I'm just doing this because it's fun. I'm not in a huge hurry or anything else, and I like to have at least a little bit of time to be able to work with it instead of feeling like I've got to rush to get everything finished. And then what I've also noticed is after this dries, a lot of these edges, they kind of pop up on me. And what I like to do then is come back with a Dremel kind of multi-tool and cut them all off. And this is going to stick out a little bit. What I'll probably end up doing is coming back in, cutting this little section off, and then just put a little dab of epoxy in there if needed. I think it should cover our tip there. Alright. Now, 2 pairs of gloves, because watch this. bam, bam, and then I can go through and do what I need. I don't have epoxy all over my hands. So what I'm going to do now is I'll get some acetone, clean off these drips, and then I'm going to wrap it in foil because I've understood watching other videos on YouTube that epoxy does not stick to foil. So I can use it to kind of apply some pressure since it's at an angle, keep everything together, and let it sit up for several hours. Okay, so now what I'm going to do just to hold all this together on this corner is I'm going to take and put a piece of foil over it that I can use to draw everything together a little bit better. Get that over the top very gently. I'm going to fold it down, applying just a little bit of pressure. Trying out a new trick I was thinking about because I had a problem with a lot of those little furry things I was telling you about, and I mean I've cut them off and that's fine, and I can cut these off if it doesn't turn out the way I want it to, but I figured I'm going to try this to apply pressure and keep it all together a little bit better. Less work later, huh?
That's what you need. Less work.
Okay, so I'm going to try and push that down a little bit, see what happens. Okay, she's all buttoned up, so now we're going to let that sit, I don't know, probably 6 hours, and then maybe peel it off. Don't quote me on the 6 hours thing. This is backyard sailing, so we'll see what happens. Thanks. Okay, so we're going to have the moment of truth here. This is the first repair I did to the big gouge in the front area of the centerboard I've been working on. First time I'd ever tried this foil technique. Let's see how it turned out. Oh, looks like it does stick to foil. Oh, not too bad. Alright. Oh man, that turned out. Hot dog. Look at that. Alright. I can clean that up, no problem. A little bit of fairing right here. Awesome. Man, I'm excited. Golly. Man, I can't wait to show my peeps that. That is awesome. Totally turned out. Actually, you can come down here and take a look at this one. Oh yeah. It sticks a little bit, as you can tell, but it's not too bad. I'm curious about this corner up here. Tell you what, let me finish doing this and then I'll turn it back on when it's when I've got all the foil on. Pleased with how that turned out. I mean, the main thing is that I got a basic shape that I can fare out, and held it on the angle. I think the problem with the wrap I did with some of the epoxy got in between the sheets of aluminum foil that I had, so it actually, there's epoxy over the foil. The stuff that was just on the top of it, it peeled straight back. But anyway, so I'm just using my little multi-tool there to clean all that up. Same thing over here. Still don't know exactly what that corner looks like, but we'll find out here in a few minutes. It took me about 10-15 minutes to get all the foil and residue off. You can see this right here. That's one of those little flaky burrs I was talking about earlier that I was trying to avoid by foil wrap and everything. And over here you can really, I mean, this normally there'd be a burred edge. Whoop, there we go. A burred edge with the edge of the fiberglass when it sets in the epoxy. And when I wrapped it, you can see there are those little little edges of the fiberglass. They laid right down. They actually got stuck into the epoxy like I wanted. Got one little tiny spot up here. I thought we might need to put a little bit more in. I might fill that back in just a little bit, but I mean, I couldn't be happier with this. Even the corner right here where I was worried, it's tight. So definitely recommend the foil wrap.